He is Richard Fronapfel from theofficepool.com, a great office pool website if you're looking to do the weekly pick'em game. There's a lot of cool games that you can do there. And Richard, I'm closing on you, man. I think one of my 6 games behind you.
Yep, and I secretly believe that the reason Ryan didn't show up today is he's embarrassed about falling so far behind.
He is, not only is he lost in the wilderness of the Midwest, I heard he was somewhere near Nebraska. I think he's riding a bus this week. It's planes, trains, and automobiles for Ryan Benini. But, yeah, he is not doing well. I don't know what happened to Ryan because he got out of the gate strong. I struggled coming out of the gate. He got out of the gate strong and now is dropping like a rock. So,
hey, it's playoff time, and it's not how you start, it's how you finish, right?
That is absolutely the case. Now, Richard, in addition to running a great office pool website, theofficepool.com, you're also a big-time fantasy guy. What's your takes on this? There have been 4 names that we've heard a lot so far in the first hour, or at least 3 that matter. Roy Halou, Kevin Smith, and McKnight. Where are you at on these 3 running backs? Who do you like going forward? Who do you feel like maybe has the most upside of the bunch?
Well, I think Kevin Smith has the most upside, just because he's really the only healthy and good running back that's going to be featured there going forward. I heard what you were saying earlier about wanting him to prove it, but I think I would roll the dice with him over Halou. I think Halou's more of a matchup guy. If you like the matchup, the way that Shanahan coaches, you can see kind of the games that he's going to do well, and they have a couple of tough games coming up. And McKnight, I think, is off the table completely. He's only around if Sean Green is out, and it looks like Sean Green's going to be back probably this week. So I go Smith out of those 3.
And my problem is I'm not putting any stock in a guy that doesn't have a touchdown yet. I just kind of struggle with that one. Call me silly, but yeah, I'm not going. Look, I like Joe McKnight. I think he's a decent running back. Look, he looks good when he runs the football, but his yards per carry doesn't impress me. I just don't see any faith in the organization. I think we've seen this a couple of times so far this year that there's a guy who gets some work because somebody else is injured, and then they absolutely fall off the next week. I mean, perfect example, my guy in Tampa Bay and Craig Lumpkin. If you bought into Craig Lumpkin, you're hating that right now. I'm not going Joe McKnight. There's another guy I want your thoughts on, and that's the wide receiver position with Roddy White in Atlanta. Where are you at on what's going on with the wide receivers in Atlanta? Are you willing to go on a wide receiver in Atlanta, or is it just Michael Turner and Matt Ryan, and that's about it from a fantasy play?
Well, again, I think it depends on the matchup, but I'd be much more likely to go with Julio Jones than Roddy White at this point. It just doesn't seem like Roddy White is going to be the guy he was, the last couple of years anymore. And because of that, you want to bet with Ryan, so that's all good for you.
And his new team name is the Fantasissies, so we like that. That will be the balance of this season and all of next season. So that will be a gift that just keeps on giving for me. All right, Richard, let's head out to the phones. Let's get Joe in Kansas. Now, Joe, have you seen Ryan Benini roaming around Kansas? We heard that he is lost in the wilderness. You haven't seen Ryan Benini, have you?
Not haven't seen him out here.
Okay, well, if you run into him, send him home. He's late. Joe, what's on your mind? It's Big Lead Sports.
I've got a team that I thought I was very pleased with, and last week the bottom fell out.
Okay, been there.
I've got my running backs aren't so great. I've got Steven Jackson, Chris Johnson, Marshawn Lynch is doing okay, and Peyton Hillis, which has killed me all year.
You and me both.
And then receivers, I got Wes Welker, Brandon Marshall, Brandon Lloyd, Deion Branch for a backup, just in case, and Pierre Garçon. Our league is a 9 PPR except for the tight end, which is a 1 point, and I have Gronkowski.
So you're feeling good about Gronk?
Yeah, and my kicker is Bailey, which I feel good about.
Yeah, he big points from Bailey the last couple of weeks.
And my question is, I've got Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, and I picked up Caleb Haney.
Okay.
Do you think I should try to deal Cam Newton to try to make some changes, or do you think I ought to stay with what I got?
Well, with Steven Jackson, I think you're okay at running back. I mean, you're not going to get huge production out of him. That's not a home run. CJ2K, we talked about, that's boom or bust. I mean, I think you want to believe CJ2K can do, but he just hasn't done anything. I mean, on a week-to-week basis, you're just rolling the dice and hoping he's productive. And I think the problem is more weeks than not, especially down the stretch, he's not going to be productive. I just don't see a scenario for him to be productive. Now you're talking about Marshawn Lynch. Okay, I'm all right with Marshawn Lynch, and Peyton Hillis is out of the equation completely. The only way I'm moving Cam is if I can get a low RB1 or an RB2 back for him. And I don't know that there's a lot of people that are going to bite on that. I mean, the injury bug has hit a lot of people at the quarterback position. So when you talk about, who on your team in your league has the Jay Cutler, who's got the Matt Schaub, who's got the, if anybody's still kind of nursing on the Kevin Cobb, Matt Castle kind of scenario, if anybody in your league, those are the guys I would probably start floating Cam to. Or even Tebow. I mean, to me, I think Tebow is somebody that you can get the emotional buy on. I think there's some guys out there that are still in love with what Tim Tebow can be rather than what he really is. He's a decent fantasy play. If you can get a real running back for him, I would consider it. I think you're okay at wide receiver. Wes was off this week, but he'll be back. Brandon Marshall, I don't know that he's in the equation in a big enough way. So, maybe I'm looking, give me a decent running back and maybe a project wide receiver. But if you're only starting two, I'm starting Wes Welker and Brandon Lloyd every week and probably not having much of a problem there. I'd like to get another running back out of the deal. If you can find somebody who'll give you a running back, I'd make the deal. But it would need to be somebody who's got a proven cachet before I'm giving up a Cam Newton or a Tim Tebow. Richard, how about you?
Yeah, I'm actually feeling pretty good about your team as is. So unless someone really had a real top flight running back for me, I think I'd stay put. I like Cam Newton, and now the buys are over, so I like him going forward. They tend to play from behind, and he's done incredibly well with his feet and with his arm. And you've got Jackson, you've got Marshawn Lynch, who's been playing well, and I think will continue to. Brandon Lloyd, Welker. Garcon actually has a good matchup this week. I might take a flyer on him, and Gronkowski's doing great. So I think I would stay put unless someone really blows your doors off.
Joe, thanks for the call, my friend. We've got Richard Fronapfel from theofficepool.com hanging out with us. Let's get Rick in Georgia into the program. Rick, what's going on? It's Big Lead Sports. How can we help you? Rick, you with us?
Doing? Hello?
We're good, Rick. What's on your mind?
Hey, so I'm kind of in a bad spot with my running backs. Right now on my team I have Starks, who's obviously looking like he might play, might not play. Helu and Stewart. On the waiver wire, I'm looking at Ingram, Law Firm, Spiller, and Donald Brown picking up. And I also have Hardesty on my bench. I can pick up or keep two of those players. Which two should I have, and should I start one of them over Helu?
Well, here's the one thing on C.J. Spiller, and this is that it looks like Buffalo is setting up to give him more touches. The problem is when he gets touches, he just doesn't do anything with it. He's got the ability to do it. I mean, if you look at C.J. Spiller as an athlete, there's something going on there with how they use him where he's not being productive. I don't even know if you give him more workload that he's going to give you any more than maybe single-digit production. I've been talking a lot about Roy Helu, and again, we've had some people bring up the fact, we just had Kurt bring up the fact that, the Redskins schedule's not an easy schedule going forward. So there isn't a scenario, if you will, for Roy Helu exploding, but I do like Roy Helu's ability to explode. Jonathan Stewart has a good matchup coming up, and, with Starks, you're going to play that game of will he go. You're going to be watching, the update wire right up till kickoff, basically, with him. He doesn't give you great production anyway, so that's kind of a question mark for me. I'm not there on Ben Jarvis, Green, Ellis. I like Ingram quite a bit. Donald Brown, not there on that. So in my mind, I like Jonathan Stewart, Helu, Ingram, Spiller, Law Firm, Brown, kind of in that order. Starks, I think you play if he can go. Those are my guys. Richard, how about you?
Yeah, I like Stewart a lot this week because of the matchup, and I like Helu. I'm not sure what Ingram's going to do this week, and Starks, you're playing the waiting game, as you said. But I think if Starks plays, I think he might have a pretty good game. So I might bump him up a little bit in the order from there. But I I'm not sold on C.J. Spiller at all. And with the law firm, it's really a guessing game of who's going to get the touches in New England. You just don't know week to week.
Thanks for the call, Rick. We appreciate it. Let's get to where are we going next? Let's go to Josh in Cali. Josh, what's going on, my man? It's Big League Sports. How can we help you?
Hey guys, I got a RB question. I've got DeMarco Murray, Michael Bush, LeGarrette Blount, and I have MJD. I'm going to play MJD just because you can't not play him. But out of the other three, who should I start? I really want to start Michael Bush, but he's going against Chicago. So
I like DeMarco Murray. And look at what LeGarrette Blount did against Green Bay. Green Bay's defense is not that aggressive. And DeMarco Murray has been really productive. I'm probably going DeMarco Murray before I'm going Bush, and I am not touching LeGarrette Blount. As much as I like my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, there's just so many things wrong with what's going on with Tampa. They keep saying we're going to go to the run. We're a run football team. We're built around the run. They run LeGarrette Blount 12 times, and then they go away from him and they never look at him again. This last week was the first time they really stuck with him, and I think the only reason they stuck with him is because they weren't blown out of the game. If they were blown out of the game, I think they would have went away from him again. So I'm not there on LeGarrette Blount. You may leave some points on the bench that way, but I think you also kind of eliminate the ability for you to have a single-digit production day out of LeGarrette Blount, which is very real. So in my mind, I'm going to DeMarco Murray, Bush, then LeGarrette Blount. Richard, how about you?
Yeah, I agree on Blount, and they're playing Tennessee this week, and Tennessee actually has a better defense than people think. So I would go. I would give Murray a slight edge over Bush this week.
Josh, thanks for the call, my man. We certainly appreciate it. We're going to hit a very quick break. When we come back, we'll get Richard Fronapfel from theofficepool.com. He's going to hang out with us for one more segment. We'll get some more phone calls in, so if you want to get in, 888-XM-FANTASY, 888-963-2682. We'll also make a pass through the Facebook page, so if you want to get over to Facebook, facebook.com/SiriusXM-FANTASY. I'm Steve Kyler from Big Lead Sports. It's Big Lead Sports on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio.